After receiving a stunning electoral mandate and opening his second presidential term with a flurry of executive orders, Donald Trump has overwhelmed his liberal opposition. Progressives have struggled to find a narrative foothold on which to oppose the real estate billionaire, but the left have finally settled on spending cuts to foreign aid as their vector for attack. Trump placed a 90-day hold on foreign aid in one of his executive orders, and Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has subsequently identified the U.S. Agency of International Development as a prime candidate for elimination. Democrats and their media allies hoped that by drawing attention to USAID, they could frame cuts to the program as an act by callous billionaires who don't care about poor Africans being denied AIDS medication. That plan is backfired, and as the public learns more about USAID, they're quickly discovering how much of their tax money is being stolen to fund deeply evil projects in foreign nations. Most Americans like the idea of being generous, but recognize the importance of taking care of their own nation before assisting others. Foreign aid is an easy sell when everyone is prospering, but when American infrastructure is crumbling, young people are struggling to afford housing, and food prices are soaring, spending tax dollars on foreigners takes a back seat. Democrats have been screaming hysterically about the millions of lives that will be lost if USAID was cut, but this has created an instance of the famous Streisand effect. As the truth about USAID has come to light, Americans are realizing that the left don't care about poor or sick people abroad, but are instead crying because their massive slush fund dedicated to pushing progressive ideology is coming under fire. While progressives care deeply about their own ideology, they realize that ultimately politics is about rewarding your friends and punishing your enemies. Patronage is the lifeblood of politics, and the left fold it into every action they take and every institution they build. One can love or hate this political reality, but it remains a reality nonetheless, and the fact that progressives embrace it while conservatives are repulsed by it goes a long way to explaining the dominance of leftist politics in the United States. USAID is no exception to this rule. Progressives have turned the agency into a tool to reward their allies domestically and build a network of ideologically aligned organizations overseas. The U.S. foreign aid budget may help some needy individuals overseas, but its primary function is to fund a progressive global empire while treating Americans as a tax farm. It would be bad enough if progressives were just taking tax dollars that could be helping American families and instead using it to pay off their political allies, but the situation is much, much worse. Democrats, the media, and the foreign policy establishment love to portray U.S. aid as a critical tool of diplomacy. In reality, the money committed to the agency is not simply wasted on political favors, but actively used to fund some of the most heinous projects imaginable. Politico masquerades as an independent media outlet in the United States, but has received over $8 million from USAID. The BBC Media Action Fund, the charity influence arm of the British state media, listed USAID as its second largest contributor. Let's not forget that the BBC is the state media of a government which is actively arresting its own citizens for speaking out about its immigration policy on social media. The American government funding both domestic and foreign media is an obvious and deeply immoral conflict of interest, but it only scratches the surface. The agency has a policy that is specifically designed to integrate LGBTQI+ ABC rainbow ideology into all of its development work, especially when it comes to the education of children. USAID is responsible for providing $45 million in scholarships to help influence the governing elites in Burma. The agency dedicated $500,000 to expanding atheism in Nepal. $32,000 was spent to push transgender children's books in Peru, another $70,000 to develop a DEI musical in Ireland, and $70,000 to fund a transgender opera in Colombia. In 2016, $300,000 was spent to queer school children in the Christian nation of Macedonia. DEI seminars in Serbia, leftist magazines in Poland, trans inclusion organizations in Bangladesh, all funded by tens of billions of dollars of American tax money. Progressives aren't simply paying off their friends abroad, which itself would be completely corrupt and inexcusable, but they're bribing foreign governments and organizations to indoctrinate and corrupt children. The American people are slowly discovering that an evil global empire has been operated in their name. The global advance of leftist politics was neither organic or inevitable, but a carefully planned and funded program operated out of the American deep state. Democrats have attempted to reframe the suggested elimination of USAID by Musk as the cruel work of an unelected billionaire and his technocratic lackeys. Now that's particularly rich coming from a party that is funded by George Soros and worships Anthony Fauci. Trump was elected in no small part due to the support of Musk and the promise that the SpaceX founder would be placed in charge of identifying and cutting malicious or wasteful government agencies like USAID. In this moment of strong executive action by Trump, some conservatives are advising caution. They warn against going too far too fast, breaking too many institutions, and upsetting the established order. This is terrible counsel. Progressives are disoriented by Trump's ability to seize the initiative, and the only narrative they have attempted to establish has inadvertently brought attention to how deeply the entire Washington bureaucracy has been corrupted. The president has the electoral mandate, the moral justification, and the executive vigor to make permanent change possible, and he should continue to strike while the iron is hot. The political theorist Niccolo Machiavelli advised that if one does injury to an enemy, it should be so severe as to ensure that no reprisal need be feared. If we are to have a revolution that returns us to governance on behalf of the American people, it is best not to leave it half-finished. Trump is devastating the global leftist patronage network, not just because it commits evil acts, but because it removes the ability of progressives to punish conservatives. The agencies of the United States government must be brought to heel and made to serve the people of this nation, or they should be eliminated entirely. Leaving those agencies wounded but capable of striking back at those who attempted to reform them would be the biggest strategic blunder imaginable. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time to do so. If you'd like to get these broadcasts as podcasts, make sure to subscribe to the Auron MacIntyre Show on your favorite podcast platform, and if you do, leave a rating or review. It really helps with the algorithm magic. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter or Gab or Instagram or Substack, if you'd like to get these videos on Rumble or Odyssey, the links to do all of that are down below in the description. And if you'd like to pick up my book, The Total State, you can do that both in print and in audiobook format. You can do that at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or many of your favorite local bookstores. If you want to read any of my columns or watch any of my shows on Blaze TV or just pick up some merch to support the show, you can head over to theblaze.com. Thanks to everybody for watching, and as always, I'll talk to you next time.